Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to our talk today. And we're going to be talking about basically preparing for birth, preparing for the baby. And the idea is that we want to feel calm, we want to feel confident, we want to prepare as best as possible for what's coming. So you probably all know me, but just in case, let me introduce myself. I'm Barbara. I am the founder of the Muslima Wellness Hub. And my background is as a midwife. I'm also a homeopath and health coach. And basically over the years, so I've been midwife over 20 years, and I've supported many women, many families, hundreds of families through pregnancies, through birth. I've been doing home birth for many years. And obviously breastfeeding, lots of lactation consultancy and all of that. And one thing that I've learned over those years is that the confidence in women and how they go about their own journeys does not necessarily come from having all the answers to their questions, but from actually understanding their bodies and their options. So information is important, but you, apart from having the answers, you also need to understand why the answers are what they are, what is actually happening in the body. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, and that's why I'm doing all these webinars and courses to help women get that understanding and knowledge. So today we're just going to be talking about preparing ourselves. And before we dive in, how many of you already have, or those of you who are expecting, how many of you already have their birth plan, written birth plan? You can put it in the chat, you can write me or something like that. Or if you have baby already, just let me know whether you had a birth plan written. I don't yet, and I'm due very soon. Okay, not yet. A rough draft, second pregnancy. Amazing. Okay, so yeah, birth plan is a really important thing. And you know what? We spend months and months preparing in terms of shopping for baby clothes, preparing the nursery, worrying about the hospital bag. But and that's really great, and we need to do that. But a lot of the times, women don't spend enough time in preparing themselves for birth in terms of educating themselves, getting knowledge, getting the right information. A lot of women still these days rely on what their midwives and doctors tell them, and oftentimes they don't ask questions. And I can see it on the group again and again and again that, you know, women come and say, I was told XYZ. They told me I won't be allowed XYZ. Or my midwife said XYZ. Is that true? Or what do I do? It's amazing to ask on the group, and that's why we have the group, but you also have to be strong enough to ask there and then, right? When you are in that appointment with the midwife or the doctor, you have to ask. That's part of your preparation. There needs to be communication, right? Just because they are a midwife or a doctor doesn't mean they know everything, doesn't mean they know better, and doesn't mean they have your best interest at heart, right? This is really important to understand. Obviously, they are not doing their job to harm anybody or be mean to anybody. But the way the system is set up, they have to work in a way that they protect their own registration numbers, their bags, they don't get litigated and all of that. So, and because we have such a huge, population, there is no scope for individualization in the hospitals, in the NHS settings. So that's why we have all those guidelines. And that's why oftentimes it's like conveyor belt. Everybody needs to be doing the same thing, right? So that's really important. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that in the past, before we had internet and social media and all of that, and maybe hundreds years ago, women were surrounded by other women, by their mothers, their sisters, aunties, women in the village, in the community, and that's how information and knowledge was passed on, right? They would share these stories and they would learn from each other. These days, again, this is gone, and we just rely on social media, right? Who is not scrolling on TikTok and Instagram and Googling things and all of that? It's not a bad thing necessarily. You will get lots of information like that, but lots of information that may not be correct every time, lots of information that may not be correct for you. It's like generalization, right? Or people, what they put on social media, they may put their own experiences, but that doesn't mean that that experience is valid for you, for your situation. Oftentimes, all these influencers and people like that put on their accounts things that don't necessarily reflect the reality. A lot of the pictures of the moms with babies are like few weeks, if not months after the birth, when things have settled and the mom has already gotten some sort of grip of the situation. There is very little out there giving you the raw, the real picture of what birth is, what the first days and first weeks with baby are about, right? So we can get ourselves into either false security through that, like seeing, oh, that everything is so nice and they are managing it so nice, which then can lead to our own anxieties. Oh, they are doing this so well. They have such nice cleaned house and all of that, and I'm not managing. So then we start like doubting ourselves. That's one thing. Another thing is social media, internet is full of bad news, scary stories, all the fear-mongering things. So again, that might affect how we feel about birth, approaching birth already with I can't say that word. Basically, with fears that don't have any basis, or the basis is in something that we've seen on social media. So, one example could be like this heat wave, right? Yes, it is hot and it is challenging, but how many people got themselves into that fear state? Oh, it's going to be very hot and we're going to be passing out, and all of that because of the information that bombards us from social media, from mainstream media. It's going to be hot, don't go anywhere, stay at home, blah, 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 right? It just sets that fear in, and then we perceive it worse than what it is. The same was with COVID, the same was in terms of any bad news out there. We need to think about our mindset as well. It's really, really important because our mind can be easily, how to say, overwhelmed or molded by what we see out there, what we come across, right? And if you hear it from different sources, oh, this is bad, this is gonna harm you, or you're gonna pass out because it's hot, then chances are you will pass out. In terms of the birth, obviously, induction is a big topic always, and there is lots of information out there saying how inductions are painful and risky and all of that. Yes, they are risky. Yes, it feels different than natural birth. But if you're already going into that situation, inductions might be needed, might be well indicated, and might be a reasonable solution in certain circumstances. But if you are going into that scenario already fearing it, already being scared, and already thinking it's going to hurt, chances are you will have much tougher time than you could have if you approached it from a positive perspective. So that's why preparing for birth, getting your information, building knowledge, getting empowered is so important to understand what is what's actually happening, and how you can support yourself in a more supportive way, if you like. So preparing for birth means different things, right? So we already said it's those baby clothes, a hospital bag, all of these things. That's really, really important. But we also need to prepare ourselves on a physical level. And that means everything, including what you eat, how you eat, your hydration, exercise, all of these things. And these things don't start like few days before birth. It starts long before pregnancy, actually, right? And if not before pregnancy, then from the minute you are pregnant, your body is not just growing the baby, your body is also preparing for the birth. So, all those hormonal changes, blood changes, and all of that is important to get the body to the right position for birth. Yes, our bodies are designed to give birth, but they also need a bit of help in terms of eating properly, being well hydrated, sleeping as well as possible, all these things. And the big part of it, and we already talked about it a little bit, is the mental preparation, the mindset, the information. And again, I see it on the groups again and again and again that somebody is in labor, things don't go quite to plan, they need to be induced, or the hospital staff is telling them they need to be induced, or whatever else. And then the woman starts asking questions. Do I have to be induced? What do I do? What is my option? It's too late. It's too late, ladies. Nobody can give you an advice when you're already in that situation. You need to prepare beforehand. And that's not just the hospital bag, that's not just the food, it's also the information. And maybe in this day and age, that's the biggest thing, right? Because many women automatically start eating a bit better in pregnancy. Many women start automatically kind of looking after themselves a bit better, and all of that. But we also need to think about that mindset, changing our mindset and informing ourselves from the get-go. Read books, watch podcasts, ask questions, right? By no means do the NHS classes. There are lots of different classes out there. And I'm going to talk about it a little bit later. But do get your information. That's so, so important. And obviously, it's important to understand the hormones, what is happening in our bodies, right? That we do have hormones, and it's not just the estrogen and progesterone, around our periods and all of that. It's all hormones, even thyroid hormones, all of them play a role in your pregnancy, preparing for birth, and during the birth. So birth is not something that your body learns how to do on the day when you actually go into labor. Birth is something that you've been preparing all along, whether you know it or not. Your body has been preparing all along the whole pregnancy, and your body actually has been preparing the whole life, right, from get-go. How you feed your body, how you look after yourself, even before pregnancy, is really, really important. Let's just touch on oxytocin. That's one of the main hormones. That's like the secret ingredient for pregnancy, birth, and postnatal, for breastfeeding, for everything. Many people know oxytocin as the hormone that causes the contractions in labor, right? Which is true. That's one of the functions, and that's what you get if you go through the induction process. It's synthetic oxytocin that they put in the drip to create the contractions. But oxytocin is much more than just the contractions, right? We have oxytocin in our bodies outside the birth as well, all the time. When you make love, when you are happy, when you just cuddle your baby, your child, right? Oxytocin is known as hormone of love, right? So anything that has to do with love, and that can be love for your child, for your parent, for your friend, the happy feelings, that's oxytocin. It's also feelings of safety and privacy. That's what you need oxytocin for. And some of you may know that animals in the wild, if they're giving birth, they need to feel safe. If they feel threatened, the whole birth process can stop until they feel safe again, right? And that's the oxytocin doing this. And the same actually goes for us as women. If we don't feel safe, if we are scared when we are in labor, it's not gonna work, right? So if you go to the hospital, you may not even feel scared as such, right? But it's that like subconscious feeling. Your subconscious is feeling it. Consciously, you might feel like, yeah, it's hospital, I've been here before, no biggie. But your body inside subconsciously might feel threatened, might feel scared, not safe. And obviously, privacy is a big issue in the hospital. Obviously, there are other women waiting, midwives, doctors, people coming and going into your room. So that can all impact how our oxytocin works, and that can slow down the labor. No wonder that, a famous obstetrician, Michelle Odin, is said once that the first intervention is actually stepping into the hospital, or even leaving your home, because you're stepping into an unknown territory, right? That's a place that's not familiar to you, even if you've been there before, but this is a new situation, right? So it's a new environment, bright lights, lots of new noises that you probably haven't heard before, or, it's unusual for you, even if you've been in hospital before, even if you've had baby before in the hospital, right? And all of that can affect that oxytocin flow. So this is really important to understand. And obviously, oxytocin as a hormone works together with the other hormones. So, if you have stress, means cortisol, means it can block oxytocin. Fear, can block it, and then things don't go as they should go. Just out of interest, if you have any fears around birth, what is your biggest fear? You can put it in the chat, just that we can maybe have a chat about it. What is your biggest fear around, if it comes to even pregnancy, birth, after the birth? Anyone? Do you want to type in the chat? My biggest fear is making the wrong decision. Well, right. That's a big one. That's a big one. I probably don't have like a specific answer for that, but obviously information is power. So it's good to kind of understand what's going on, get all your information, ask questions. There are different tools that help you to ask questions, what you need to know. Look at different sources, right? Obviously, as I said, when you are being seen by your doctor or a midwife, ask them there and then. Never leave an appointment without understanding why they are saying what they're saying, right? Always ask why. Is there another option? What can happen if, right? And then it's good to look for other sources. So by no means Google things. Try to find alternative approaches, if you like, from independent midwives, researchers. I often share Sarah Wickham's stuff. She's really good. She is a midwife researcher. So she doesn't tell you do this or do that. She just looks at the research out there and analyzes it and interprets the research for those of us who are not experts in reading research papers, what that research actually means, what does it say, and what research is there actually on different topics, like the big baby, for example, or the group B strep. So then it kind of helps you, because oftentimes your doctor or your midwife and the hospital will give you just, let's say, one point of view, one side of the coin. You need to see both sides or all sides, right? So looking at things like that can help. And then obviously it is important to listen to your gut as well, your instinct. You are the mother, even if the baby hasn't been born yet, you are already a mother. You know your baby, you know your body. You should be expert on your body. So listen to your intuition as well. Obviously, you have your husband, family members, you can discuss with them if you're comfortable to do so. And obviously, as Muslims, we've got the istikhara, which is very powerful, important tool, right? So that's that. And always balance pros and cons. If I do this, what is the worst case scenario that can happen? If I do this, what is the worst that can happen? And choose what you feel is best for you. That's another thing. There is never right answer that would be applicable to everyone. We are all different, right? And all of us have different circumstances, different, let's say, levels of what we consider safe or not safe for ourselves. So that's why I always say you have to make that decision by yourself, because even if I tell you what I would do in that situation, it's what I would do. And you cannot do something just because I said I would do it, right? That's why I don't like when people ask me this. I don't like like what I would do. I don't like answering that because that's purely what I would do, and it should not address your decision making. You should not be making your decision based on what somebody else said they would do, whether it's me, whether it's your sister, whether it's your friend, right? Because it's you. So you have to decide for yourself what feels right for yourself, what you're comfortable with, and what every decision has consequences, right? So you have to decide what consequences you are happy with, you are comfortable with, right? And then go with it. Another fear, having a blood loss, as I want a home birth. Okay, what scares you about the blood loss, or why are you worried about blood loss? Did you have a blood loss before? Another fear, C-section that's unplanned and unexpected. Okay, that can happen. Why are you scared of unplanned and unexpected C-section? What is so scary about it? So the blood loss, hemorrhage, as I had one before. Okay, yes. So again, you need to get your information. It's good to, if you had some sort of a problem in a previous pregnancy and birth, it's good to look at, like have a review of what happened, what led to the situation. Why might you have hemorrhaged previously? It's very rare that you would hemorrhage just like that, just for no reason. Usually there are things that lead to it. And that could be, for example, having that synthetic oxytocin drip during labor. It could be that the labor was very long. It could be that you had low iron levels, many different things, right? It may depend on the management of the labor and birth. It could be the fear as well, right? So all hospitals run something that they call birth reflection clinics, or something along those lines, where you can book the appointment, and then you meet with usually consultant midwife or some other member of staff. They bring the notes and they discuss the whole process with you, what happened, why it happened, why they did what they did, what led to what, things like that. Just that you have a bit more understanding of the whole process and why things happened the way they happened. There might be occasions where we don't have exact answers, but this might be a useful thing, right? And then again, educating yourself, understanding the birth process, understanding the role of the hormones. Yeah. One common, I would say, a mistake that I have seen again and again and again, especially on the birth center, not so much in home birth setting, is that, or on delivery suite, that baby is born and all of a sudden lights go on, phoning millions of relatives, FaceTiming, sending pictures, lots of noise, congratulations, all of that. Amazing. Yes, we are all happy that baby is here, but the birth is not over. Birth is over only once the placenta is out and mom and baby eyes are safely tucked in bed, right? Why am I saying that? Because many people know, and we talk about this in quite some detail on the pregnancy course. Many people know that you need to have certain environment for birth, right? To feel safe, to feel privacy, to have the hormones flowing, right? But you need to keep that same environment for the placenta as well, because if this changes and all of a sudden that fear sets in, it can block that oxytocin and you still need it to burst the placenta, stop the bleeding and all of that, right? So if that fear sets in, or that like the lights and noise and yay, congratulations, everybody wants to talk to you, your body stops kind of focusing on what it needs to do. And then you start bleeding just because even though you feel happy and you want to talk to everyone and all of that, your body doesn't, right? So be mindful of that. So understanding these things, again, educating ourselves on the processes and what needs to happen is really, really important. Now about the C-section, unplanned C-section, even though I had vaginal birth before, it can happen, but then again, it would be good to understand where is this fear coming from? What is feeding this fear? Why would you be scared of unplanned C-section? You had vaginal birth before. And if everything is fine, you're healthy, baby is healthy. You know, it's again about understanding the birth process. A lot of unplanned C-sections happen because we interfere with the birth process, with medications, induction processes, all that I've just said, you know, disturbing the mother, not letting the birth flow as it should, right? Obviously, there can be some situations where things, maybe the baby gets distressed, but then again, why does the baby get distressed? Again, in normal physiological birth with healthy mom, healthy baby, there should not really be a reason for baby to get distressed just like that, right? So again, it's about understanding the processes again. Do you think it's worth getting a sweep at 40+2? Not necessarily, just again depends on the whole picture. Like, why would you be getting a sweep at 40+2? Is this your first baby, second, 10th? What else is going on? You know, again, you need to see the whole picture. Oh, there's so many things. There. They said that a fast labor as I had a quick labor. Yes, that could be. That could be. But again, it's probably the fear behind it, right? It's fast labor. Maybe you didn't know what was going on. I don't know if you were transferred to the hospital or whether you were at home, or you know, things like that. So if the body goes into shock, then yes, it can happen. I feel like sometimes we can be pressured into having a C-section, but if we were given some time and reassurance, a lot of time it can be avoided. This is how it comes across when I hear stories of people who've had C-section. Yes, and that's exactly why you need to educate yourself to understand what happened in those people's stories. And again, hearing people's stories is one thing, but what part of the story you're hearing? You just hear the C-section story. You don't know what was before that, what led to it, right? So be careful about this, hearing people's stories. And yes, exactly. You can be sort of pressured into having lots of different interventions and things, but that happens because we as birthing mothers don't have enough information because we didn't inform ourselves. That's all those women who then post on the groups, they're in labor, and somebody is telling them, oh, you're not progressing enough, we will do a C-section, or we will give you a hormone drip to make it faster. What do I do? It's late. At that point, it's late to ask for advice and for questions because we don't know what was before. Why are you where you are, you know, in that point, what led to it? So you need to educate yourselves because this information with understanding what's going on, you will be much less likely to be pressurized and fall for the pressure, right? Is that a reason, as you have just said, the long labor? And I was told the reason could be because I had a quick labor. Yes. So quick labor, it could be the shock. It puts the baby, not baby, the baby too, but the mother's body into a shock and it just stops working. Long labor, on the other hand, it's not maybe that much about fear. It's more about exhaustion. Yeah. Uterus is a muscle. And if it, as any, as any muscle, if it overworks, it gets exhausted, and then you can't work anymore. Then you can't run anymore. Like the marathon runners. And you might know that labor is often um, like they say that it's similar to running a marathon in terms of the energy levels and all of that. How intense it can be. So if the uterus gets exhausted, then it just pushes the baby out and that's it. I'm done. I can't work anymore. So long labor, prolonged labor can also lead to bleeding. So then again, understanding why is the labor prolonged? Why it wasn't like progressing in some reasonable pace? What is making it so long and slow, right? So yeah, it can be prolonged labor and fast labor as well. My last labor ended in unexpected C-section for fetal heart decelerations, possibly due to meconium. My fear is going against NHS guidance, creating tension, and then making the wrong decision. Right, yeah, okay. So we need to unpick it a little bit. So meconium is a tricky one. Because we do not know until the baby is born whether the baby passed meconium because they just were ready to do it or whether they were distressed, right? Now, if they do pass meconium, whether they were distressed or not, just being in that meconium waters for too long increases their chance of infection, possible meconium aspiration, all of these things, right? So in that point in time, it is something that needs a bit of an input, medical input. And it can well lead to fetal distress. So, and that can lead to unexpected C-section, obviously. So, again, it's about understanding what meconium actually is, what implications it can have. Why are we worried about it? It's not just a poo, right? And then making decisions based on the current situation, right? In terms of birth plan, you are planning for the ideal situation, but that's not something set in stone. It's just, I prefer the word preference, actually, your preferences, your desires for birth, but you may need to change it as you go. Yeah, we need to be a bit flexible and a bit open to other situations, other possibilities. When I had that vaginal birth, I was induced. That's why. So yeah. So this time around, I'm worried that I won't be able to go into labor on my own because my body hasn't done it before. There's no reason why your body shouldn't be able to do it by itself, even though you were induced before. Just again, it's about understanding why you were induced, whether there's anything you can do this time to prevent induction, and then how to support your body to do what it needs to do. Right, so let's have a look further what I wanted to talk about. So these are very simple. This is actually right time for this. 5 very simple steps that you can do straight away wherever you are in your pregnancy to start supporting your body. Daily walk. You need some exercise in pregnancy, even before and after pregnancy, to keep your body healthy, active, energized, all of that. So as simple as going for a walk daily. And it doesn't have to be a walk in the woods like on the picture. It can be just, if you have older kids, just walking to school and back, doing the school run by walking, or at least half a part of it, depends how far you live, right? Or if you're not managing in the morning because it's like rush, 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 you have to get there on time, then maybe when you're going home, right? Or going shopping. Can you walk to the shop and maybe take public transport on the way back with the heavy bags or whatever? Or just walk. Do you have a park nearby? Do you have a little one in a buggy? You know, try to think a little bit creatively outside the box where you can add the daily walk into your life. Breathing is another big one. There are lots of breathing practices on YouTube, so I'm not going to be spending time on details. You can go on YouTube and find lots of things there, but it's about focusing on proper breathing. A lot of the times because we have such fast life pace and we are constantly rushing somewhere, we don't focus on breathing. Breathing is something automatic, something that we don't even notice, but it's something it's very, very important. And I've shared on the group in the community recently few or maybe one some information about mouth breathing and how important breathing actually is. So and again, there is lots of information out there on my YouTube. You can also find a whole webinar on mouth breathing. So breathing is very, very important, and we need to pay attention to it a little bit. So just slow down. Maybe when you go for your walk, pay attention to your breathing. Try to focus on it so that it's not just very superficial and like fast breathing, but try to do a few deep breaths. Put your hands on your belly so that you feel how your belly and your chest is rising when you're breathing in. You know, be a bit more mindful about the breathing. Education, that's another thing. And you've already started today, right? So appreciate yourselves for turning up to this webinar with me today. That's your first step, getting some information already. Get some books. There are tons of books out there. How long do we walk for to induce labor? How long is a piece of string? It depends. And I would not say that just doing a long walk will induce your labor. It can help, but it's not just about it. It's part of the picture. If your body is not ready, if the baby is not ready, it's not gonna work, right? So it's just part of the picture. And I'm not talking about walking here just to induce labor. I'm talking here about walking every day for your general health during pregnancy, before pregnancy, after pregnancy, okay? I've avoided being too active as I have been considered at risk for preterm labor. I actually currently have a cerclash in. Should I aim to be more active after its removal at 37 weeks? Right. This is a tricky one. You do need some activity. You can't be bedbound, right? And going for a little walk is not going to do any harm, right? And I'm not saying go for a long walk around the whole city, right? I'm talking about a gentle walk, right? Just round the block, or if you have a park, go to a park, stretch your legs. You're not doing anything strenuous. I probably would not suggest like strenuous exercises, cardio, running, all of that, but normal walking should not be a problem. right? So we need to be a bit sensible about things as well. So yeah, and I'm sure they did not suggest that you be bedbound and not move at all. So yeah, there's no harm in going for a walk. And obviously do listen to your body. So if you're going for a walk and you walked a long time and your belly starts cramping, take a break, go back. Also remember to keep hydrated. Do take breaks. You don't have to walk like speed walk, just gentle, normal walk, looking around the forest, pond, whatever is around you. Right, the next one, education. So yeah, we've started on that. Nutrition is big one. So obviously keeping healthy means keep eating healthy foods and talking about your preferences, thinking about your preferences, looking into it. So I would like to have this. What does that actually mean? What are the prerequisites? What do I need to do? What are other options? What if this cannot be done? What is my next step? Yeah, things like that. And this is quite a nice quote that I like. Birth is not only about making babies, birth is about making mothers. And that means you're not preparing just to give birth, you're preparing to then live with that baby child for many, many years. You are preparing for motherhood. That's also where the education comes. The education information is not just about giving birth. You also need to learn about what's next, what's after the birth, right? Because birth is just a question of one day, let's say. But what do you do with that baby then? All that breastfeeding, looking after the child, bringing the child up. What actually is happening with you, with your body, your relationships, everything afterwards. That's massive part of the information gaining during pregnancy and pre-pregnancy. If things don't go to plan, we already talked about it a bit, but I just wanted to stress that positive birth is not defined just by how your baby is born. You can have perfectly positive birth even if you need C-section, even if you need to be induced. If you are on the pregnancy group, not too long ago, a sister shared that she had a very positive experience with induction. And that's something that I think is not talked about enough. There is loads of stories out there how bad inductions are, how painful and all of that. But I have personally supported many women who had induction and had good positive results. They didn't even need epidural. They went through it fine. And even though they were induced, they had positive experience. I've even supported women who had positive experience with C-section. And they loved their experience, they loved their birth and all that, right? So again, it's about the education, about understanding what's going on, about the mindset. The mindset is so, so important. So yeah, even if things don't go to plan, it's not end of the world. It can still turn out good. It can still be positive. Okay. And that's another thing. What do you think babies need the most in the first hours after the birth? Let me know in the chat. Write it in the chat. What do you think babies need the most in the first hours after the birth? Any ideas? Closeness with mother. Yes, exactly. Warmth and comfort. Skin to skin and trying to establish love. Yes, yes. Absolutely. Baby needs the closeness with the mother, the warmth. Same as the mother, the reassurance, feeling safe, feeling feeling safe, secure, supported, calm. And that they get from the skin to skin contact, from the closeness with the mother. And that then feeds into the latch, finding the breast, and feeding. So that is really, really important. And again, so it's about understanding how these things work. How does lactation work? There were questions recently, I think, on the groups around the colostrum, the breastfeeding, and often it comes again and again and again and again. I didn't have milk. Will I have milk? The colostrum is there, ladies, from about 20 weeks of pregnancy, and it's always there. It is very extremely rare that a mother would have like a health condition that she would not produce any colostrum. It is already there, and if the baby latches on, they will get it. Even if you do the colostrum harvesting and you can't express anything in pregnancy, it does not mean the colostrum is not there. It just means that for you it doesn't work and you were not able to express it. But it is there, and if the baby latches on and sucks, they will get it, right? That's really important. So again, that's a big part of your information learning. I've seen some around 32. No, I mean, it's not too early to see it, obviously. You're currently 35 weeks. So generally it's recommended to start colostrum harvesting from like 35-ish, 36 weeks. So you can try and see how it goes. And fourth trimester, important concept. So you know that pregnancy has three trimesters, but there is also a fourth trimester, which is the first few weeks, months with the baby after the birth. And it's crucial. It's very important time. It's not just the first 40 days. That's even more specific time, but the fourth trimester spreads beyond the 40 days. It's roughly 3 months, right? And it is the time when we are learning about our babies, the babies are learning about us, we are adjusting to each other, we are transitioning from the pregnancy to the motherhood, baby is transitioning from inside out. It's a period of time of huge changes in mother's body, hormones, all of that. It's time of massive changes in the family, whether it's your first baby or second or 10th. It's always change in the family, always adjustment, a new person, new logistics, and all of that. So it's a really, really important time. So the problem is that people spend the whole 9 months of pregnancy preparing for birth, writing birth plans and making sure it's perfect and they will have the perfect birth. But they're forgetting about the postnatal, the fourth trimester, which is, as I said, probably even more important than the birth itself because, the birth is a question of one day. And you know that it will start and it will finish. However it will finish, it will, right? But the postnatal does not finish. In theory, you are postnatal forever, right? Because you have your children forever. So even beyond the fourth trimester, but the fourth trimester is so, so crucial and we need to prepare for it. We need to get our village together. We need to get our support together. We need to plan for that. So that's really, really important. So imagine that you could feel calm, feel informed, feel supported, feel confident rather than feeling anxious, overwhelmed, insecure, fear, all of that. that is exactly what my course is about, to get you to that position, ladies, so that you feel calm, so that you feel informed, confident, empowered, and supported. So normally the course runs over 5 weeks, but for our community, I've stretched it to 6 weeks. So you will get the normal 5 weeks. And as I said, there is lots of courses, other courses that you can do out there. And I said, do your NHS course as well. Why? Because you need to know what they are about, what they offer, what is their view, on what page kind of they are, right? But also, please do get information from other independent sources, just that you understand what are other views, what are other options, what other information is there. I would not. I used to tell people to do NCT class, for example. I don't recommend it anymore because I have realized in recent weeks and months that they, and I'm going to say it, they give outright wrong information to people about certain things. Doing NCT class, from my experience with my clients who have done NCT class, is more like doing your NHS course. So you can as well save your money and invest into something more holistic. If you are following me, if you are in my community in the Muslima Wellness Hub, you might know that we've done the podcast with the Muslim hypnobirthing midwife who does courses as well. So you can look that podcast up on my YouTube and connect with her. You can do her classes as well. Or I would love you to consider doing my course. As I said, the 5 weeks are standard. The first week we talk about the pregnancy, the third trimester leading up to the birth, to understand the hormones, the changes, and all of that, what's going on with the body, with the mind, all of these things. Then in the second week, we focus on the birth itself. Again, what to expect, what are the stages of the birth, how to support yourself for like optimal birth process. In week 3, we are talking about the situations that are different from what you've planned. And again, how to prepare for that, understanding why these situations may arise, what does it mean, what to expect. Week 4, we talk about breastfeeding, preparing for breastfeeding. We cover the colostrum harvesting, when to do it, how to do it, why to do it, how to store the colostrum, things like that, to understand how lactation works, what to expect after the birth, how to support breastfeeding. And week 5 is focused on the 4th trimester. So it's more about the mom, about the whole family, the first few weeks with the baby, the transition, what to plan for, preparing the postnatal plan as well. And the week 6 is a bonus session. That is mostly Q&A. And that session is also designed so that you invite your partners, be it your husband or anyone else who's going to be your birth partner, so your mother, sister, anyone else. You can invite other people as well if you want to. And they can ask their questions as well. My main sort of aim for this session is that the birth partners come and ask their questions so that they understand where you're at, what you want, why you want it, and how they can support you. Because that's another thing. I'm now working with a couple who wants, who plans a free birth, and I'm just doing their antenatal care. And so when we're meeting for the home visits, obviously it's both of them, the woman and her husband. And it's really interesting to, so they are expecting the baby in August. So we've been working together for a few months now, and it's really interesting to see how the husband's confidence and sort of approach to all of this is growing and changing. At the beginning, when I first met them, he was a bit worried about the whole free birth situation, but now he's more um, aligned with it and understands, and he is so much more confident. He understands many things. Even the questions he asks now are completely on a different level than when we first started working together. So it is important for the guys to get information as well, to look into these things. And, you know, many of us probably will know that our husbands will not necessarily listen to us. They would rather listen to whatever they read somewhere else, or their friends tell them, than listening to their own wives. Don't know if it's like that for you, but definitely for me. So that's why I want the men to attend that session as well, just that they can ask and hear it from someone else rather than just from you ladies. And as I mentioned on that slide, I normally charge £333 for the antenatal class, the 5-week one. You also receive resources with the class. You will get a workbook, you will get birth and postnatal plan templates, you will have access to all the recordings for forever. And you will have information on home remedies. You will get like a cheat sheet for homeopathy remedies for labor and birth, things like that. And you will be part of a community. You will have access to me to get expert advice from me and all of that. That's a different group to the normal pregnancy group that we have. And all these resources, the value of them is more than £200. So the course that we are now offering starts on the 12th of July. It will be 6 consecutive Sundays from 10 a.m. UK time for an hour and a half. And it will cost it costs £120. So if you're interested in the holistic approach to labor and birth, if you want expertise from a midwife who has experience in NHS and outside of NHS and can give you sort of balanced perspective, if you want support with breastfeeding, natural tools like herbs, homeopathy, all of these things, and ongoing support, please join us. Right. That's end of my presentation. If you have any questions, please type them in the chat. Couple of things that I picked up from the WhatsApp groups recently that I wanted to talk about. Like today, I think somebody posted about the dates for eating dates for easy birth. Yes, and obviously as Muslim women, we eat dates. It's kind of normal for us, and that's the trick. The eating the dates is kind of in, and it came to be for women who are not Muslim, who don't normally eat dates, right? Why? Because obviously we know that dates have lots of minerals and vitamins, including vitamin K, by the way, and fiber, and they help with preventing constipation, supporting the gut health and all of that. And that's the key, ladies, because if you are constipated at the end of pregnancy, that can be the big problem for your labor and birth, because constipation can affect how all of that works. So eating the dates can contribute to your iron levels, to healthier gut, and all of that, right? So that can help in that way. Obviously, if you are diabetic or anything like that, this is not applicable to you. But also, I would say, please don't rely on eating dates as the only thing that you're doing to prepare for easy birth. It's a tool in a toolbox. It's not the only thing, right? Preparing for positive, easy, smooth, natural birth takes much more than eating 6 or 7 dates a day in the last few weeks of your pregnancy. So that's one thing. Then there was a lot of talking about am I allowed, if I want this, but I'm outside of guidelines. That's another thing that we talk in detail about in the course. What are your rights? What are your options? How to go about ensuring that your options are or your choices are met. But I just wanted to say, and I've said it many times on the group, you are the one who is doing the allowing, right? The healthcare professionals are giving you options, recommendations, and it's up to you whether you take it or not, right? If you are, I don't know, buying a TV, for example, you go to a shop and they give you options. They tell you, oh, we have this TV and that TV. This TV does that, that TV does that. And you decide. They will not tell you, oh, you need to buy this TV because it's our best, or because we think you should have that TV, right? You make your own decision. So this is very similar. And then on one of the groups recently, there was some comment. A lady was saying that she had some, I don't remember what, some health issue, and she said that it's probably because of breastfeeding. I just wanted us to get it straight. Breastfeeding does not cause health issues. What causes health issues is if you don't look after yourself. Breastfeeding, making breast milk, your body is making it from resources in your body, meaning you need to replenish those resources. That's why you need to look after yourself. Your body will always prioritize the baby. So the baby will get what they need from your body. They will always get what they need, unless you are extremely malnourished, which is unlikely in most parts of the world. But you will be struggling if you don't look after yourself. So it's not the breastfeeding as such, it's you not looking after yourself. Right. And again, I want to stress, please do educate yourselves, get information, whether you do my course or not. There's lots of options out there. Do educate yourselves. Don't leave it too late. As I said before, and I probably will repeat it many times, it is too late to ask questions when you are already in labor, when you are already in a situation. Okay, and let me have a look what is in the chat. Are there any independent midwives around East London? Yeah, there are independent midwives. There are many independent midwives out there. I am an independent midwife. It depends what you want independent midwife for. If you want independent midwife for a home birth, then you need to, I put it in the chat, Zest Midwives. Google this. Zest Midwives is organization that basically registers independent midwives and provides insurance for birth care. I'm not registered with them because I do not offer intrapartum or birth care. I only offer antenatal and postnatal care and breastfeeding support and all of that. So for that, I can get insurance elsewhere or myself. But insurance for birth is obviously very expensive, and you can't get insurance for birth as individual. So it has to be through an organization. And at the moment, as far as I know, there is only one such organization is in UK, which is Zest Midwives. I wouldn't be able to commit to constantly seeing them as it is far too expensive for me at the moment. Would they or yourself know if they can help support me? No, as just during labor. As I was told, a home birthing midwife through NHS can take up to an hour to. Well, it doesn't matter whether it's NHS midwife or independent midwife. It will always take time to get to you. So it doesn't matter whether you have independent or NHS midwife. They will always need time to get to you. And if it's at night, so remember, it's at night. You go into labor, you call the midwife. She's probably sleeping in her bed. So she needs to get up, get dressed, probably brush her teeth, get herself collected. She probably, if she has worked with you before, she knows you. She probably knows that you might go into labor, or, midwives that do home birth usually are kind of prepared for this. So it's not like I will be packing up my stuff. I will just get up, get dressed, get washed, take my bags, car keys, sit in the car and go. Now, with NHS, it depends on the situation. One hospital where I worked, the way we did it was that we went to the hospital first, pick up the equipment like the Entonox, Gassenair, the home birth bag that we carry as midwives, because we would have only one or two for the team, and then go to the woman, right? When I worked as an home birth midwife independent of NHS, I would have my own equipment, right? So I don't need to go to the hospital. I just put everything in the car. I would have my own Entonox, carry it with me and go. And then it depends how far you live from that midwife, right? And it could be, if you live around the corner, it could be like for 15, 30 minutes to get there. If you live further away, it could take up to an hour. If it's during the day, rush hour in London, that may be even longer, right? So from that perspective, it doesn't really matter if you have independent or NHS midwife. There is always a time that you need to give. But again, if you go to the hospital, it's not that you get to the hospital and you have the baby right next minute, right? It also takes a few hours. Okay, so you just call the midwife when you're in labor and they get to you and then wait with you for the baby. Okay, so that's that. But no midwife, as far as I'm aware, will take you on just to come for the labor and birth. As far as I know, in terms of the Zest midwives, the way the insurance contract is set is that there need to be at least 3 antenatal contacts between the midwife and the woman before the birth, so that the insurance is valid and covers the birth, right? Those 3 contacts can be done online. I think they have to have at least one in person, and the 2 can be done online. So it can be done potentially within a week or so, right? But as a midwife myself, who has done hundreds of home births, I would want to know you. I would want to know the woman, the family, before I go there, before the labor day, before the birth, right? Because only then I can understand a bit better of what you want and how to look after you. You, as the birthing woman, want to get to know me beforehand as well. that's that aspect of feeling secure and safe and comfortable and confident with someone. If you don't know me, then that's not going to help you because I'm a stranger. How would you trust me? How would you feel safe and comfortable with me? It's the same principle as going to a hospital and then having a midwife you've never seen before looking after you. It takes a while to build up that rapport, that relationship, right? And more so for a home birth. That's why home birth midwives want to see the women beforehand for at least few appointments. Mostly the appointments are done at home so that you are in your own environment and you can build that trust and that relationship. It's really, really important. It's part of that, let's say, mental preparation, the mindset and all of that, right? Thank you so much. You're most welcome. I'm glad if it was helpful for you. My previous pregnancy, I had IUGR and PIH. And because of that, now midwives are saying I'm unable to give birth in a birth center. Can I still challenge them? Yes, you can. And that's one of the things that we discuss in the course, how to go about it. You can still get what you want. You just need to work on it, and you need individual plan of care put in place. But yes, you can. Makes sense. Wa'iyaki, alhamdulillah. Okay, if there are no other questions, ladies, thank you so much for joining me today. And please do consider booking my course. You can let me know, get in touch. If you know anybody who might benefit from the course, let them know, let them get in touch. And inshallah, I'll be looking forward to speaking to you in future. Assalamu alaikum. Hang on, there is one more thing. Jazakallah khairan. Wa iyyakum. Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.